guys, welcome to another Ned's Tool Talk video. Today's video we're going to be talking about another RYOBI tool, RYOBI circular saw in this case, 18-volt circular saw to be particular, model number R18CS. So this is the smallest circular saw in RYOBI's range. This has succeeded. We're talking about 7-ish plus years ago. They used to have a 150 mil circular saw, which has been stopped manufacturing a long time ago, and this 165 mil circular saw has succeeded that one. So as I said, this is the smallest circular saw that you can buy in RYOBI range. It's 165 mil. Of course, when you buy it from the box, it doesn't come with a Diablo blade. It comes with a RYOBI blade, which I have replaced with Diablo blade maybe after 1 month of use. This blade is 24 tooth and it's for timber, and I think it's gonna set you back around 40 to 50 Australian dollars. It's a very good blade. I'm not saying that the RYOBI blade is bad, I'm just saying that Diablo is better. Now, a couple of things with the tool. This is your left-sided saw, which means the blade is on your left side. There's some right-sided saw, but there's not many. They're usually left-sided saws. The depth of cut here, don't worry, there's no battery. Battery is on the side here. So the maximum depth of cut here is 52 millimeters, or exactly 2 inches for friends in US. And also there is no positive stops when you're adjusting the blade. You've got a lever at the back here. You lift it and you can move this to whatever you want. There's a couple of markings for 20, 30, 40 millimeters, 50 and 52, but I wouldn't really go by those markings. I'd rather put a tape measure on the bottom and make sure I've got it on the correct height. So as I said, there is no positive stops where you can only stop for the depths. It's infinite. You can adjust it in literally 1 millimeter increments if you need to. The bevel adjustments for the angle is up to 56 degrees, and you've got markings here and a very nice, I'll bring it closer to the camera. So you've got markings right there and an arrow to point at your adjustments. Okay, this thumb screw right here you can undo, and you can slide the fence stopper. I've got it somewhere in the garage. I don't even know why. I've never used it, to be honest. When I need a fence like that, I use either a table saw or a track saw. So this tool, this is not a brushless tool, this is a brushed tool, and you can smell that as soon as you start not cutting. As soon as you turn it on, you can smell the brushes if you know power tools. Okay, also on the front of the tool here there's 0, and there's about 27 mil on this side, and there's 90 mil on the right side. It's almost like a tape measure that tells you where you're going. So you gotta get closer to the camera again. There's 2 markings. So there's on the left side there's a 0 and a slot. This is when you're cutting on 90 degrees, so as it is. But when you put the saw on, say, 45 degrees, where are we at? There. When you put a saw on 45 degrees, you're gonna go on this second smaller marking. It shows you 45 degrees there because the blade, as it tilts, it moves a little bit that way. So this is gonna be your guide on your line if you're freehanding it. Okay. The saw body standard is all plastic, and bottom is metal. Okay. It's not scratched up. There's no rust or anything on it. So let's say it's a fairly good powder coating on the body itself. Also, a couple of more things to note. The arbor size here for your blade is 15.88 millimeters. The weight of the saw without a battery is 2 kilos and 450 grams. And what you're gonna get with a saw is you're gonna get a 5mm Allen key here to undo your thing, which is stored right in the back of the saw in there. Okay, so it's always with you. And you're gonna get this dust port, which free spins and it falls out. So what I've done is I've just drilled a small hole here and I put a pop rivet just to keep it there from literally from losing it. Sometimes you can, if you need to, you can put a vacuum cleaner hose in there and you can connect your vacuum to it to minimize the amount of dust. And of course, it's got a safety switch. You can't press the trigger. You gotta push the safety to the right or to the left before you can squeeze the trigger. That's given for all the power tools nowadays. So this right here, what we have is just a piece of very nice and dry 70 by 45 pine, untreated pine, just normal framing pine. So we'll give it a couple of cuts and see how it goes. I mean, I know how it goes, but I want to show you guys. And these cuts are done with a 5 amp hour battery, which is fully charged. So the next timber is, I can't even tell you what it is. I think it might be, it's not pine. Looks like some type of a hardwood, but it's definitely thicker than the blade. This is around 70 to 75 mil thickness. Blade's not gonna go through it, but I just wanna see how the saw behaves when you're cutting a timber that's not going all the way through. How does it choke it up? That's what I want to say. And as you can see, it hasn't got really any major dramas going through it. Now this blade is not the newest, but it's also not old or janked up. So for the end, we got 35 mil thick oak hardwood, and I'm gonna drop the height of the blade now. It says 30 mil. We're gonna go on a 40 mil mark, just a little bit under, and we're gonna cut this hardwood. So let's see how the saw behaves in the hardwood. So this definitely gives it a little bit more work for its money. It was definitely much, it was definitely much happier in a pine. That's what the cut looks like. We've seen how this saw functions. We've seen what it can cut comfortably, what it kind of, I wouldn't say struggles, but it definitely not as happy as in pine. So that's this hardwood board here. I'll put this down. This piece of oak here, hardwood. I wouldn't say it struggles. It still cuts it, but it's definitely not as happy as it is in a pine. So it's a. But that also being said, this is a smaller range of a saw. It's very much intended to be used at home in a DIY scenario. Maybe you need to cut some sleepers, some pieces of timber to make a shelf or something. Of course, DIY stuff. And for what it's intended to do, it does it just fine. Trust my words. Now, this saw comes at a price point of $149 Australian dollars, and that is a skin only. So you don't get a battery or a charger or anything. You just get a saw, You get a blade and you get a Allen key at the back to mount the blade on and replace the blade when need be. Now the saw will come with a blade in the box, not mounted on the saw, just so you're aware of that. But yeah, it for its price point, it does exactly what it needs to do. It cuts just fine. It doesn't really struggle much in a normal size timber unless you go into something thicker and harder types of wood. But yeah, for that it's perfectly usable at home. Would I recommend it for DIYers? 100%. But for professional, you guys that do it professionally, you probably won't even be watching my videos because you got much better saws than this. But if someone stumbles across and wants to go in a professional woodworking environment, don't even bother with this saw. You need a track saw, you need better brands, you need Milwaukee, Makita or DeWalt type of tool. And of course that comes at a bigger price point. So guys, that's it on this saw. I'm pretty sure I've said everything that is there to state and say. We've seen how it cuts, we know what it's capable of and what it's not. Actually, we haven't reached its limits, and I guess that's a sweet spot as well for a tool where you didn't reach its limit and you're not trying to push it and force it and overwork the tool and then go to Bunnings and complain how tool is rubbish or not doing its job. But yeah, guys, on that note, if this video helps you, if you think it's useful and helpful and friendly, which I always try my best to make exactly that type of a video, please like, share, subscribe. It goes a long way for me, and it takes a fraction of a second for you to do it. Anyways, guys, have a good day, have a great weekend, have a great week, whatever time of the week you're watching this video on, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, ciao.